What is going on, Knights of Vex? I hope you guys have had a nice week off of Grand Arena. Your boy Vex has been MIA for the past 5 days, dealing with stuff at work that I've had to take care of, but we are back. So if I haven't gotten back to any messages on Discord or on YouTube, it's been a little bit of a rough week, but we are here for some Grand Arena action and the best 3v3 teams for the up-and-coming season. Really awesome new Datacrons, new marquee characters that are now in our rosters with focused Datacrons attached to them, and no more OP Datacrons at our roster. So it's going to feel like a different game almost this season. So we have to talk about it for the 3v3 season. If you guys are new here, I like to break this up into 3 separate categories. The best defensive teams, offensive teams, and a category I call flex, where those teams you can use on either offense and defense, pretty much where you're feeling where your roster is going to be during that match, to change it up a bit. It's a long season, guys. We have 3 weeks of Grand Arena. You got to change your team comp, so you're going to see some repeat characters, some different compositions for every one of them, and it's going to be a really fun and interesting meta. So, also, disclosure, this week, from Thursday till Sunday, I'm going on a bachelor party, so the live stream for those particular GAC matches will not be a thing, but I will be bringing my laptop to record and to do some gameplay before we begin the festivities and getting our little drink on, if you know what I mean. So, just letting you guys know for the week, we will be, live streaming and do our regular GAC matches for the first couple matches, but Thursday through Sunday, I'm on a bachelor party. So, also, I want to plug this in, guys. If you aren't aware, we're currently on the road to 10,000 subscribers on our first 2 years of YouTube. I would really appreciate if you guys would like the video and subscribe to the channel so I could hit that goal. I'm trying to hit it by the end of April. That's going to be very hard to obtain, but if we do get there, guys, I'll be doing a massive giveaway on the channel for anyone that is currently subscribed, including iTunes cards, Google Play cards, maybe some Vexatron merch. I have a couple prototype sweatshirts I want to give out, so maybe you guys could be the first to get it, and also possibly a brand new version of a video game that we'll figure out when the time comes. So, big giveaway for you guys, but you have to be subscribed. So if you want to support your boy Vex to get to that 10,000 subscriber count, don't forget to subscribe, guys. That really helps your boy Vex out, and I appreciate it. So, with that out of the way, let's get the list started with the best defensive teams. Alright, Knights, let's get this list started. Starting with the first team that needs to be discussed, probably one of the strongest teams in the game at this very moment. Stranger, Starkiller, and Maul Hate-Fueled with his focused Datacron. Things are going to get interesting, I am telling you. It's not going to be as easy as it was last 3v3 season. Now, previously, there were some counters that worked, like Queen Amidala with an Attacker Cron, because we could ignore the marked mechanic and the taunts and all of that. This is going to be different because we no longer have those really wordy, strong Datacrons. So, this team is going to be strong. Very difficult to get through. Lord Vader, I think Lord Vader is going to have some trouble because there's no wordy Attacker Cron and there's no max health damage level 3. So, we're going to have to figure out some new counters, which you might see later on this list might be possible for you. But if you do have Stranger, Starkiller, and Maul Hate-Fueled, set it on defense. Because this will be the team, like previously, like Darkside Vision Ray with her focused Datacron, that can stone wall you and shut down your opponent and solo carry you to victory. This could be the one strong defensive team that you guys need to pull out the win. So it practically could come down to, in GAC matches, who can take out the Maul team and, not get stuck, or who can one-shot the Maul team. So we're going to have to figure out some counters. We will get there, but if you guys have it, set it on defense. If you guys do not have the new legendary character, or he's very low, if you don't even have him unlocked, replace him with regular Maul from Conquest. Still a very strong team with the focused Datacron for Starkiller and Stranger. It's still going to be pretty strong, just not nearly as strong as Maul Hate-Fueled. But that's just for anybody that does not have the new Spider Maul. Set it with Conquest Maul, and he's going to perform very well. Now, for the beginning half, I think that Balin is going to be very strong. The problem is, he's not going to be as strong as he would be in 5v5, because in 3v3, his particular counters might still work. We're going to have to figure that out. His level 15 is really strong, and Shin Hati is going to be hitting extremely hard and assisting. So, if you look at the win rates with JML, it's kind of iffy, and with the reduction of the Attacker Cron and maybe not those super high protection Crons, your counter with JML might not be your, go-to way to get this done. It's a really strong team. Like I said, if your go-to counters do not work, you could be screwed. If you're forcing a GL on your opponent to take out this team, that is a win for you. So, Balin with his focused Datacron, is going to be very strong in 3v3. Not nearly as powerful as it will be in 5v5 because of Dengar and OG Hondo. What they bring to the mix is very powerful, but for 3v3, I think if you have the Focus Datacron of 15, very strong to set on defense, and we're going to have to figure out what's going to be the best value for it. If JML can still pull it off against Balin, might not be worth it to set on defense, but as of right now, we don't know if it still will work, so we're going to have to figure that out together. But in the first step, I'm setting Balin on defense with his Focus Datacron. Now, we got to talk about this, because this guy is getting a huge boost. Huge boost. The level 9 to Vayne is one of the strongest of the new set. I think definitely the strongest out of all the level 9s without the Focus Datacron. He is turned into a tank shredding attacker. He's going to be gaining a bunch of max health, dealing true damage based off his max health, and murdering your team. So normally when you face a Hondo, Vayne can be ignored because he's kind of tanky, he's kind of durable, he doesn't really do a lot of damage. You want to kill the sides. Now, you have to deal with a tanky Vayne that's going to be murdering your team. If you have this particular Datacron ready for week 1, set it with OG Hondo, because OG Hondo is going to shut down some of those pretty off-meta counters. Practically, I don't think those off-meta counters are going to work regardless, but I think if you throw in OG Hondo with his Omicron, he's going to be lightning fast, he can put captive on an enemy target, and then Vayne, if you get going, will shut you down with all the true damage. Like Kylo, if you're using Kylo against Pirate King Hondo with Vayne and OG Hondo, you're going to have to stun Vayne. And OG Hondo is going to have to get going and start ramping up his ransom. Might not be as easy. So, if Pirate King Hondo increases the wrong cooldowns on a character, you're looking at a pretty long exchange. So, moral of the story, it's going to be one of the strongest teams this season. You have to set it on defense if you have it. It's going to be very, very strong. Now, heading into another very strong team, Lord Vader with the 2 clones. Now, viability in terms of power level, it's going down because the attacker Kron is no longer here, and the max health damage is not here either. But there's a very strong level 3 where when you apply debuffs, you have a chance of reducing your cooldowns. That's very good on Lord Vader, because you can get like almost 2 turns back-to-back big AoE damage over times, and that could shut you down. Will it stop Bo-Katan this season? That we have to figure out. Bo-Katan might have a possibility against Lord Vader, but if you have the cooldown reduction 3, it might cause some issues. So we're going to have to figure that out. Also have to see if Maz Kanata is going to be able to beat him. If your opponent is using Bane on Lord Vader, I think that's going to be a win for you, for you, because Bane is obviously needed for a lot. And but I think Lord Vader is still going to be a very strong defensive team. If Maz Kanata can beat it in 3v3 now, we might have to fluctuate and see what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to be as powerful as he was on offense. I don't think he's going to be a Stranger Mole counter much longer. So for the first half, Lord Vader is going on defense for me because he still requires a pretty strong combination. Now, moving on. Always like to include these two. Ahsoka's viability is going down, unfortunately, because of all those Krons all benefited Ahsoka very well. The support Kron, the tank Kron, the attacker Kron, all very good for her with her sides. Now, it's being replaced with the Hoi Yang Kron, which was one of the strongest ones of that set, and was very good in TW. Now, it's going to be your go-to. You have to have a Terminator Kron, because with the introduction to Darkside Terminator, it opens up Great Mothers. So, if you guys are going to set it, I think your go-to is going to be Ahsoka, Hoi Yang, and Ezra Bridger with the Hoi Yang level 9. Gains a bunch of offense, a bunch of really good stats, and the Terminator is very good. If you do not want to set Ezra with Ahsoka, throw in Wat Tambor with Hoi Yang with the Hoi Yang level 9. Put Ezra with Rey, which you're going to see over here. I'm going to show you 2 different combinations of Rey, where you're going to be very versatile. You can split this up throughout the season, but practically those are going to be your 2 Ahsoka comps. Now, the next 2 is going to be Rey, obviously. Rey with Ezra is very strong. If you put a light side buff on a special that gives evasion to your team, Ezra already has crazy amounts of evasion. If you cannot control his mastery gain and all that evasion with the buffs on a special early game, he's going to be practically unhittable. So if you have a team that has attacks that can't be avoided, like, you're going to be in some trouble. So you need to bring in the right team comp that's going to be able to hit him, and obviously very, very strong. So depending on how your stats are in your Datacron with Ahsoka and Ezra and Rey, that's going to be your 2 splits. If you want to keep Ezra with Rey or with Ahsoka, throw in Cal Kestis. I don't think Barriss is going to be nearly as good without her level 9. can't really... I was checking out the Datacrons to see if there's any plug-and-play characters that could be possibly pretty strong. I think Rey's viability is definitely going down a little bit this season compared to her previous, but it doesn't mean she's going to be bad. I will be particularly throwing in Cal, because Cal is very annoying. If you can't land your debuffs with your, you can't prevent that protection up from happening, and you can't apply buff immunity, it could be pretty problematic. So, me personally, if I'm not setting Ezra with Rey, I'm throwing in Cal, and that's going to be the team. Now, this is going to be interesting. I hope I am wrong about this, because I still think that Pirates are going to walk all over the Sith still, even with Nihilus' focus Datacron, but that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. Maybe your opponent says Maz Kanata in defense, they have to figure out a different combination or a different comp. The good thing is that if you throw Nihilus in the lead, the Omicron's for Traya is still activated because it's in her unique, not her leadership. So, I was debating if I wanted to throw in Sion instead of Savage. I think Savage brings too much to the table in terms of strength and power level. I mean, Nihilus is still going to be gaining max health, giving Terminator to Traya, getting all the benefits. So I think Savage is going to be a better third than Sion, but we're going to have to see. I hope I'm wrong about this. I hope it's stronger than what I think it's going to be. I'm going to be putting it on defense, and hopefully I maybe can bait my opponent to use Pirates somewhere else, or they set him on defense. We're going to have to see. Maybe this team does pretty well this season. Now, this guy, holy tamale. Very, very strong. You saw the power level in 5v5. In 3v3, it might be even harder, because maybe Maz Kanata can do it, maybe she can't. We no longer have a healer Kron. That's the thing, like, all your counters that you thought previously are all going to change because they're all gone, so it's like a new game. If you have Darth Vader Dual Zen, no matter what the relic level, and you have his level 15 focus Datacron, throw it on defense. It's a nightmare. He's got a 2-turn fracture. He's going to give his team hatred if you're not facing a GL. It's no joke of a team. Very powerful, and I highly recommend it goes on defense with this focus Datacron. Now, this one. You know what it is? Here's the thing. With all these teams, you don't want your team to be Wampa soloed, right? We have a Wampa Datacron. You're going to see him on a different, category later. A lot of these teams could be susceptible to Wampa solo, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because Wampa's going to be able to solo a lot. So you might have to bite the bullet and see where my opponent's going to use Wampa and bait it. So this could very well be Wampa soloed. But I kind of want this team to cook a little bit. I heard it's bugged. I'd like it to get, fixed. I'm thinking Cody, Captain Rex, and Kix. And be gaining a ton of speed, Kix per clone ally. You're going to get Endure. Can't be instantly defeated. They get revived. It could be pretty strong. We're going to have to see. Captain Rex can remove buffs. But I would love for this team to cook a little bit. I'm going to be placing it on defense to see if it can do anything. Maybe we're wrong and it does way more on offense. But we're going to have to see. You never know. Now, Mercenaries. Kyle Katarn, level 9 Datacron. Maybe. It's not a full Mercenary team, but it's still a good team. He's still going to benefit from the defense pen and his level 9. Thinking you still keep Kyle Katarn with Saw Gerrera and Luthen. I think that's going to be your best bet. Kyle Katarn is a big damage dealer. Saw with Luthen is just next level overpowered. If your opponent is setting Balin on defense, you're going to have to figure out a different counter to this team. So, see that ripple effect? Balin gets a Datacron. It's very over the top. You normally use Balin against Saw Gerrera with Kyle Katarn. The value doesn't seem nearly as equal in terms of, if you're going to use Balin against Saw. So, you're going to have to figure out separate counters for Saw that's not going to nearly be, as powerful as Balin. So, you see the ripple effect there? Still going to be a very strong team. Now, this one. I think this team can actually be pretty strong. Enoch, Night Trooper, and Death Trooper Peridia with the Night Trooper level 9. This thing surprised the heck out of me. I am not kidding. It one-shot an entire Pirate King Hondo team for me in 5v5. I was very impressed. So, in 3v3... maybe they can get a Terminator train with all the alert, is what I meant to say, with these two, and then Enoch with his anti-advantage. I think if you bring in CLS and you cannot control the alert and all that Terminator gain, you could be in some trouble. With the Omicron turned on, he's immune to Terminator reduction. That causes problems for CLS a little bit. So, this team could be pretty surprising. I will be setting them on defense. Now, trying to speed it up a little bit on the defensive teams, I'm going to show you guys the next three. It's the next three more key characters with their focus Datacron. I think to start with the Wookiees, Tarful, Yoda, and Chewie, and Clone Wars Chewbacca is going to be your best bet. It activates the 3, 6, and 9, I believe, So they're going to be dealing true damage. They're going to get all their foresight and their extra stuff. So I think Tarful, Yoda, and Chewie, and Clone Wars Chewbacca is going to be your best bet in terms of defensive team. Then next up is going to be Inquisitor Barriss with her Focus Datacron. I do think General Skywalker kind of walks over it, but they gain a lot of buffs. It seems to be a big counter. I don't know particularly what they're doing on offense, so I think as a defensive team, if they are going to use General Skywalker, it's typically a 54, so you're stealing 3 banners, which is nice. And maybe you can do more damage and you kill the sides. Who knows? So I think Inquisitor Barriss is going to be another strong defensive team. Next up is we're going to throw in Asajj Ventress with her Focus Datacron with Boba Fett, Sana Jango, and Fennec. This team is very strong. Very, very strong. Actually surprised me in the previous seasons of how good it was. I think I got close with Tuskens once, but I couldn't match their relic levels to really, get going with it. They were doing too much damage, but still a very good team. I have a very high relic Asajj because I did it for the Assault Battle or that, that Dark Dimension event. So maybe this team cooks even more. It's going to be very interesting, I'm telling you. There's a huge ripple effect without these overpowered Datacrons. Now, next up, next marquee character, Luke with his Focus Datacron and his Omicrons with Leia and Luke. I recently applied the Omicrons on both of them because I want to see if maybe it's pretty strong. I actually don't even have his Focus Datacron at level 9, so I'm going to have to figure out another thing I want to try. Maybe a 25% Terminator to get their Terminator train going, but I think this team surprised me. Actually surprised me. I saw them melt the Traya team. I saw them melt a bunch of stuff, so I think Luke is actually impressing me more than I thought, and is a very good 3v3 character, and I'm looking forward to testing him. Now, doing in some filler squads, I want to show Resistance and Tuskens. These are going to be more filler. Back in the day, they used to be insanely strong, like over-the-powered strong, but it's just, with the introduction of new characters, the viability goes down and down and down, but that doesn't mean they're bad. You're going to have to throw in some filler anyway for some of these 3v3 walls. It doesn't mean they're bad. There's a lot more powerful things out there, but I do like throwing in Zori with double Finn and also Tuskens. It does require something a little bit more expensive. Gotta use Trey, gotta use Jedi Knight Kisses with Revan. Sometimes Radis doesn't work, so Tuskens are still a PETA of a team. Now, next up, this team is going to be interesting because I thought it would be stronger previously, but if your opponent uses Wampa solo here, that's a win for you, because Wampa with this Focus Datacron is going to be punching up way higher. You're going to have to figure out other stuff to take this out. So, Forlom, Zuckuss, and Bosk, you got the double tank variant. Forlom is very strong with his multi-hit attacks, his debuffs. Not a bad team, and a pretty good filler. And then last up, Trench with Jango and Dooku. The reason why I'm not including Watt here is because I'm putting Watt with Ahsoka in case, or if I need him with Sith Eternal on offense. You get the gist. So, good filler team. If you're going to use them, use a 25% Dark Side Terminator Cron to help him get that Terminator train going, and Dooku to get everyone under stealth. And that's going to be more of a filler team. But that is going to wrap up the best defensive teams, guys. We're not going to move on to the best offensive teams. Offensive teams. How can we not start with the most exciting character in the list? Wampa, guys. Wampa with the Focus Datacron is back, and she's going to be a killer. This thing, when it first came out, I didn't appreciate it enough. I ranked it 3rd on the list. It's great value, and it's really good for early game players that might not have all these legendary characters unlocked. Wampa is one of the first, guild event currencies you should go for because he's so good and needed for the Jedi Knight Luke event. With the Focus Datacron, he can solo Galactic Legends. Can solo Jabba, can solo Leia, a ton of other things. He's so freaking powerful. We're just going to have to see how the Bounty Hunter Cron or the Scoundrel Cron is going to affect the Wampa solo on Jabba. But regardless, he's going to be a 58-59 banner win. He's so freaking strong with that Datacron, and I highly recommend that every player, early, mid, and late game, goes for this Focus Datacron because the value he brings is just incredible. I'm excited to use him on my free-to-play account. Now, Leia. Leia, too much value not to use on offense. She's so good at taking out Ahsoka, Rey, Mirror Match, so many different things. She's so powerful, Lord Vader. Leia is too important to be put on defense, and the value she brings is incredible on offense. Probably going to be bringing in a 25% Terminator Cron, I believe, with her because of how getting out ahead is very helpful, especially against Lord Vader. So, Leia, to me, is always going to be a better offensive tool. Unless you're in a particular matchup with a certain person, you're trying to trick them up, then you put her on defense. But for the majority of the community, Leia is an offensive Galactic Legend. Which leads into the next Galactic Legend, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. I think his best use is going to be on offense this season. he's probably going to be my go-to to take out Pyro King Hondo with Vayne, because that irresistible stun on Vayne is going to be very clutch, and it's all going to be about controlling Vayne. I do not know if Ufus are going to be able to get it done against Pyro King Hondo, you know, with all that true damage and assisting. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see what can work. So I think Kylo is going to be one of the best counters for Pyro King Hondo this season, and he can be my offensive Galactic Legend. Now, I always include these two. How can you not? Sith Eternal Bane combined, or Bane on his own with Sith Empire Trooper, or you can throw in Dooku. Dooku's very good against the Lord Vader counter because you can stun Appo and get the shock. It's very nice. But regardless, you want to get yourself out of a pinch and make a super team, combine Sith Eternal and Bane. If not, separate them and just do Sith Eternal solo, or throw in Wat Tambor and do Bane with Sith Empire Trooper. It's practically two Galactic Legends on their own. Bane is a mini Galactic Legend, and with that Lightspeed bundle, a lot more players are going to have him, so he's definitely not a defensive tune or character. You got to use him on offense. He's so freaking powerful. Now, I always mention this, but Kenobi is now officially an offensive Galactic Legend because of the release of Baylan. Baylan absolutely destroys him. You cannot stop it from, you know, not working. If there's an enemy Ahsoka Tano on the team, Baylan opens it up. So Kenobi's going to be a very good offensive character. He's probably going to be able to take out Jabba teams. I don't know, he can't take out Baylan, but he's going to be very good on offense. He's good at banner recovery. You're very good at controlling your own, you know, insta-kill and manipulating the ultimate. He's very good at offense, and I highly recommend him. Same thing with JML. Way too many counters. Way too many counters on defense. He's an offensive Galactic Legend. We really could use a lifter unit for him, and I'm really curious with the whole Jedi Knight Revan thing, what's going to happen with Satele. So, it's a really good question, but for the most part, we got Jedi Master Luke, and Hermit Yoda on offense. Good banner recovery. You got your stun. You got your AoE turn meter control. That's going to be your best team. Next up, Ufus. I'm not including Cal here because Cal is going to be with Rey. So I'm putting in Kylo Ren unmasked as your pre-taunting tank with Malicos. Good at taking out Inquisitors. Was good at taking out Pyro King Hondo. I think it's going to be very hard this season. I'm not going to lie. Especially if there's an OG Hondo on the team with that Captive and they put Captive on the wrong target. You are absolutely screwed. But regardless, really fun team, really powerful team, and probably could be used for taking out Rey this season. So, really good on offense. Next up, Bo-Katan Mandalore. Going to be very good on offense as well. My goal is to get her to beat Lord Vader. That's what I'm going to try to do this season. Without the Attacker Cron, it's going to be possible. You have to have the right modding. You have to have the right turn order, the right data cron. So, we're going to have to see if it's possible. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I don't think it's going to be impossible. So, Bo-Katan, very good on offense, can be easily countered on defense by Traya. So, really looking forward to using her. Next up, we have Afra with IG-90 Focus Datacron. And this team is okay on defense, but it could probably do some really good stuff on offense as well, like taking out Jabba, and you get some protection recovery now, so I like the banners with it. That's why I like it on offense better, because with IG-90, you're recovering 20% protection and calling everyone to assist, so I kind of like it for that, you know, banner pinching situation. If you're tight on banners, you need a good banner win. Afra is no longer bad at banner wins. She now has protection recovery, so I do like them on offense. I'm going to try them out. I'm really excited to see what they can do. Next up, this will probably be my counter for the season. I don't even think it's dependent on the Jedi Knight Cal Kestis level 9, but Revan, Cal, and Bastila Shan. This will be my Ahsoka Wat Tambor counter for the season. Got to make sure she's not modded for tenacity, because she can prevent the max health reduction. But Revan, Cal, Bastila, she gives a ton of potency in her unique, and with legendary battle meditation, it gives even more potency. But just be very cautious if the enemy Ahsoka is modded for tenacity and has a tenacity datacron. That could be cause loads of issues for you. So just want to point that out there. It's a very good offensive team. And to end it, I always have to include it. I'm not very good at it myself, but this is the Night Sister Cheese that could take out different counters. I believe this worked in 3v3 against Stranger, Maul, Conquest Maul, and Starkiller with the Healer Cron. I think Old Daka was in the mix, but I don't think it's going to work this season. They prevent revives. It's simply not going to happen with Spider Maul. But if you want to take out a Jabba team, it's Talzin, Merrin, and Asajj Ventress. Make sure you have them modded for Tenacity. You go in with the Tenacity Cron in terms of stats, and you're going to be pretty well. It's very good at cheesing. It's an ultimate cheese type of team. But that is going to wrap up the offensive list we're now going to move on to the 3v3 flex list, which is pretty interesting. Last category, the flex. First team we got to talk about, Jabba the Hutt. And the reason why he's not on defense is specifically because of the Wampa focus datacron. You do not want this guy to be soloed by Wampa. He's a galactic legend. He does not deserve that. So I'm putting him in the flex. And the reason why he's in the flex is because maybe you bait your person's Wampa for the front wall. Or maybe there's a datacron that's going to prevent Wampa from actually taking out Jabba. We're going to have to figure that out. So I'm sure a bunch of testing and, trial and error is going to help us find that answer. But for now, Jabba's going to be on the flex list particularly because of the Wampa focus datacron. He might be able to take out Balin, actually. So even if you bring him on offense, he could be a pretty good Balin counter. That lethal buff from Leia is going to prevent Shin from attacking out of turn. That could be pretty good value, because if you want to use your Kylo versus Pirate King Hondo, you can use your Jabba against Balin. I don't think that's the end of the world, especially against the level 15 focus datacron. That might be pretty good value. So Jabba, first on the flex list. Which leads us to the next one. I went a little ahead there. Dark Trooper Moff Gideon with the Moff Gideon level 9. Now, I was, last season I was aware of Night Trooper doing very well, but I didn't realize how well he was doing with DTMG. So I don't know if it's going to be as good in 3v3, to be honest with you. I don't know if you're going to be able to counter Pirate King Hondo there. But I think, without the Night Trooper Cron, I think Moff Gideon's going to be very good with DTMG and Scout Trooper. That's going to be your go-to. So I think that's a pretty solid split when you put Enoch and Night Trooper on one team, you put DTMG, Scout, and Moff Gideon on another team. It could be pretty good. We're going to have to see the best value of what he's going to do to take out. I'm looking forward to it, and I cannot wait to test it out. But even on defense, I don't think that Rogue One's going to be as easy. So even if you put it on defense, you might have to force like a Malgus, and even Malgus can lose. I've seen it happen before. So really good team. Need to figure it out. Now, next up, and I want to make a note here because I wanted to do a separate one and I forgot. I want to see if Maz Kanata with Quiggold and SM33 can still take out Lord Vader. You're definitely not going to be able to one-shot him. That's not happening anymore without an attacker cron. But if, for the most part, Maz Kanata, Quiggold, and Captain Ethano with the level 9. Captain Ethano level 9. The foresight stuff, the protection, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice to have. But I want to include here, SM33 instead of Ethano might be able to take out Lord Vader still. I do not know for sure. I will test it, but I want to make a note of that. I forgot to make a separate one here. But I think for the most part, just do the level 9 with Ethano and you're going to be absolutely okay. Now, next up, Queen Amidala. Been my go-to for Rey for the past couple seasons, and you can never go wrong with it. She's very good. We have a high armor pen datacron. We have 25% turn meter. We also have buffs on a basic and buffs on a special, so all those extra buffs are going to be very good for the damage. So we're going to have to see what's going to be the best for her. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, the viability is going down because we don't have a wordy level 6 cron for attacker or support, which benefited the team greatly, but it doesn't mean the team is bad. Padawan and Obi-Wan is still going to hit hard. We still have armor pen, critical damage, offense, still really good offensive stats, so the team's going to cook. And on defense, it requires a very strong counter, so really good team. How can we not talk about it? Great Mothers. So powerful. So freaking powerful. Probably for me, going to be used primarily on offense more because of the 25% turn meter cron. Their counter to Ahsoka is now opened up, and I can't wait to try it out to see. I've heard messages from top-end players saying that the turn meter cron could affect the turn order a little bit. I'm going to have to figure that out on my own to test it, but there are murmurs about it, so I have to see. But even on defense, Great Mothers with a 25% turn meter cron on defense, they get out ahead, they can do the mass swarm, they can blow you up. Not something you ever want to play with, so really, really strong team and going to be viable on offense and defense. Next up, Bad Batch. And the thing is, with Bad Batch, they've always been kind of meh and mid. Not even mid, less than mid in 3v3. They get countered by so many different things. But maybe they have a resurgence or a more of a viability in 3v3 with their wordy datacron, the level 6. I'm putting in Hunter in here with Crosshair because if you have the Hunter level 9, maybe it can help you get out ahead faster and get all that speed. If you don't have Hunter, use the Crosshair level 9, might be nice, but you got to remove those shaken stacks. It's very hard, but on offense, we might be able to figure out some fun stuff. On defense, pretty good filler team. Hopefully their viability goes up from their datacron. Next up, General Skywalker, and the problem with him is the banners. It's pretty bad, but he could take out some of those B teams you don't want to really go super expensive on because General Skywalker doesn't have a really good use at the moment, or a go-to use, I should say. So we could take out Tuskens with this team. You could take out Inquisitor Barris, which we figured out last season. You could take out, there's another team I was thinking about. Did I say Inquisitors, Tuskens? There's another team. He's not bad. He's not bad at all. The problem is the banners. There's no banner recovery on him on either side. So he's very good. And on defense, maybe your opponent has to try something more expensive. So not a bad team to throw it on defense. But I wish General Skywalker had a little bit of a lifter unit soon. Now, double combo pair. Malgus, Flex. On defense, the problem is Maz Kanata is crapping on the Sith. Just straight up, Maz Kanata is anti-Sith. But with the tank revive, and your opponent's going to use Maz Kanata on a different team, now your opponent has to start to think a little bit. They might have to throw in Sith Eternal. They might try the Jedi Knight Revan, Cal Kestis, Kron. But if they don't have an anti-revive, that will be tough to deal with because Malgus with Malik in a tank revive level 3 is pretty tough to deal with. So keep that in mind. I think his defensive viability goes up because of the tank revive. But if, again, your opponent does not have the anti-revive Mercenary Kron with Cal Kestis, then you're in for some trouble. So I like these two pairs. Over here is that if you put Darth Revan with your Mercenary team with Zalbar and Mission, throwing Basilisk on Fallen still going to be viable. So this team is pretty annoying to deal with because on defense, if you don't use a jail against it, it's activated. If you do use a jail against it, it's deactivated. And on offense, it's good at taking out Great Mothers. You could take out, I think you could take out Inquisitors as well. So it's a good get me out of a pinch situation. I want to take out a tough team and not use something crazy. The problem is the banners are bad because you're going to get a 53, 54 guaranteed because mission's going down. That's the problem. But still, fun team to use. We have a Mercenary level 6, which can be pretty strong for Zalbar, and really good offensive stats like offense, crit damage, and armor pen. So we're going to have to see. And resistance pen, by the way, which is going to benefit Darth Revan. So he could be hitting even harder. Next up, Reva Inquisitors. And I'm not going to quite combine Inquisitor Barris here because I think she's going to form her own separate team in 3v3. On defense, still annoying to deal with. On offense, can get you out of a pinch, deal with teams like Saw Gerrera and stuff like that. So Reva, always got to include in the list. Not much to say there. Now, this guy, unfortunately, going back to his former self, which is kind of mid. Mace Windu, not that great of a team in 3v3. Viability is going way down because of the Attacker Kron being goodbye. But, again, very hard countered by the Sith. Trey is going to walk over it. Malgus is going to walk over it. But if your opponent uses those teams and characters for other squads, that might make you have to think a little bit. But I think Temple Guard with Mace is actually the better variant because with the Omicron turned on, that captive could be so freaking annoying. But still, annoying team, but not a phenomenal team. And over here, if you want to do a split, put Keller and Beck, Jocasta, and Shock T. Your opponent might be trying something cheeky and try Bounty Hunters and lose, and maybe they, you get a weird hold with that. Now, we got to talk about Jar Jar. Viability is going down with the Attacker Kron. Without the Attacker Kron, they're not that good in 3v3. I think Tarpals is a good third because he's an attacker. He can do some good damage. And the Phalanx isn't really doing much. I feel like they're just so easily countered by so many different teams in 3v3. They definitely shine better in 5v5. But regardless, they can help you deal with some Separatists and stuff like that. Not a terrible team. Now, next up, Tarkin with Scorch and Disguised Clone Trooper. Viability is going down without the support Kron, but still a team you got to take somewhat serious. If you were normally using Palpatine, Mara Jade, and Thrawn, that's no longer an option because of Darth Vader Duel's End. If you're going to use Darth Vader Duel's End against Tarkin, I feel like that's a win for your opponent. You don't want to do that. So, again, not a bad team. Not as strong as I thought they were going to be. The viability is going down. Maybe if you throw in a 25% Terminator Kron to get out ahead, that could cause some issues for you. So, we're going to have to see. Have to include CLS. Good at taking out stuff on offense. On defense, it's okay. More of a filler squad. There is a 3PO level 9. There's also a C3PO level 9. Might be better in 3v3 than 5v5. So I have to include CLS on the list. It's always going to be a decent team. More of a filler. Nothing crazy expensive. And continuing, Omicron, Qui-Gon Jinn with Kiadi Mooney and Anakin. Another cheese kind of team. It's one of the most OG Omicrons in this game. It doesn't mean it's bad. Still using the Kyber 1 today. So whether it's taking out General Skywalker or doing a crazy cleanup or trying to go for a Hail Mary, will always have a use either on offense and defense. You got to think of certain counters, by the way, on when it's on defense. Now, Grievous. Unfortunately, Grievous is still lacking. Even with the Droidcron, I haven't seen much use for him. He's in desperate need of a lifter unit or something to help him out. But on defense, if you see it and your opponent uses DTMG against it, that's a win for you. On offense, I don't think it's going to be doing as much as we thought it could, but it's more of a filler squad. These next two are going to be filler. Like, same thing with Maul DeLoreans. I personally think they're going to be a good cleanup team against the Galactic Legend, but on defense, they're okay. On offense, they're also okay, but I like them for cleanups. But regardless, they can go on either, side. Good filler, good cleanup. You guys get the gist, but that is going to wrap up this very long 3v3 teams review video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget what I mentioned earlier about the goal for 10,000 subs, guys. I would really appreciate it if you would help your boy Vex out to help me get there. End of April. So, guys, thank you again for watching. If you found this useful, leave a like. Comment your thoughts down below. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Leave it all down there. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. I appreciate it. May the Force be with you all, and I'll see you very soon. Peace.